I'm Harrison Graham. Welcome into Chicago Bears Now, where we publish daily Bears content for free. A couple of topics I want to hit on today. The latest buzz on Trey Smith. What is the Chiefs' impending free agent going to do this offseason? Obviously, his next thing he's going to do is try to win a Super Bowl. And then the Bears have fired another coach. We will talk about who that is toward the end of the video. Let's start with Trey Smith here. Is there more Chicago buzz? The Chiefs' free agent to be. Obviously prepping for the Super Bowl. Brad Biggs expects the Bears to be in on Smith in NFL free agency. Of course, ESPN's Jeremy Fowler has said that. PFF has suggested that as well. It's not a surprise. The Bears have money. The Ryan Poles connection. They have cap space. We'll talk about it all here in just a second. But want to remind you guys to subscribe to the channel for free. We cover the latest Bears news, rumors, major storylines, everything else in between. We go live usually every Monday and Thursday, this week on a Friday due to the NBA trade deadline. Big breaking news, we're live as well. Hit the subscribe button. Turn on notifications. We got you covered here on Chicago Bears Now. Okay, Brad Biggs saying this via 670 The Score, quote, back in the fall, the expectation was that there was no shot that Trey Smith would get out of Kansas City, but the thinking there has shifted. Basically saying there's no chance that Trey Smith would hit NFL free agency, but now people in NFL circles do think that there's at least a decent chance that he could hit the open market. I think it's pretty clear with all the reporting, just the obvious needs that the Bears have, the connections to Trey Smith. I think he's a clear plan A. Like, if he hits the open market, they're going to swing, and they're going to swing hard at Trey Smith. And that should be their plan A. Now, obviously, you have to have a plan B, C, contingencies. Do you shift to a different position on the offensive line if he doesn't become available? All of those are scenarios that these teams are working through with their free agency profiles and all that stuff. If you watched the Giants' Hard Knocks last year, they go through all these scenarios. All these teams do it. But I do think, I'll put it this way. I'd be shocked if he wasn't their plan A based on what we've heard and what's just logical at this point in time. This has been a contract that I projected for Trey Smith in the last couple of weeks. 5 years, $110 million, $22 million per year, $70 guaranteed. The highest paid guard in the NFL makes $21 per year. The highest guarantees ever has been $60. And look, you might say, Harrison, that's an overpay. He's not the best guard in the NFL. No, but he's probably a top 10 guard. And when a player of this caliber hits the market, you overpay. That's just how it works. And, Ryan Poles has been meticulous, and he's tried to avoid overpaying. I think you got to pick your spots. I think this is a spot where you swing, and you swing big. And if you have a line for him, you might be willing to extend that line a little bit because it's just such a massive need, and he's so far and away the best player available at the interior offensive line in this free agency class, assuming he does hit the open market. You just have to be willing to pay and to pay big because it's beating a dead horse. We'll continue to talk about it, but this has just got to be handled. You've got Darnell Wright. He's a good player. Braxton Jones you can live with for another year. But you got 3 starters to fill. Like, even if Tevin Jenkins does come back, he's going to miss time. Coleman Shelton can be serviceable, sure, but you'd like to upgrade. Matt Pryor, nice story. He's a backup. Trey Smith, you plug him next to Darnell Wright, you feel really, really good about that right side, and then you start plugging away elsewhere with more reasonable free agent contract deals or guys in the draft. It just feels like the Bears are ready to pay up. You feel the momentum. You feel like, okay, Ben Johnson comes in here, going to have a vision. Ryan Poles knows Trey Smith. He wants to get paid because he's a 6th-round pick and has made no money in the NFL. I say no money. He's made a few $1 million, which compared to you and me is good money. But he was a guy that should have been drafted on day 2, but due to a heart issue that popped up, it scared some teams off. Has not been an issue at all in the NFL. Now he hits the open market, potentially, unless the Chiefs re-sign him and he agrees, to potentially get a massive, massive payday. If you want Trey Smith, get involved in the comment section below. Type me right now. It's going to cost. I don't care. You got the money. It's time to get a big-time player on this offensive line and to build this unit out. All right, coming up next, the Chicago Bears have hired another coach to this coaching staff as we're getting closer and closer to Ben Johnson having his staff completely filled out, as they've been meticulous but also timely enough to get this staff filled. We'll tell you guys who that coach is in just a moment. But first, I do want to tell you guys about our sponsor. Ticketing partner of this show is Game Time. Get out of the house. Go to a concert. Go to a comedy show. go to a sporting event. The big game coming up on Sunday for anyone who's going to be in the area. If you're looking to get last-minute tickets for the lowest prices guaranteed, Game Time has you covered. Use the feature Game Time Picks, which will filter out the fluff of thousands of tickets and narrow down your search from potentially hours to just a few minutes. What it'll do is kind of show you several bubbles within a venue of different prices, and you kind of figure, okay, this is in my price range. Boom, click, shop, check out. You are good to go. You can toggle on all-in pricing too when you're surfing. That way you don't get surprised at checkout. You'll know exactly how much you're paying for those tickets in real time. Views from the seats, events cancellation protection, all that stuff is available with Game Time. And just the timeliness is really nice. I've bought tickets just minutes before an event before, hours the day of, and have gotten my tickets in plenty of time to enter that event with no issues whatsoever. And if you find a better price in the same section and row on a different ticketing service, show that to Game Time. They will lower the price that they are showing for you for the ticket in their app. That way, you get the best deal available. So download Game Time today. Use promo code CHATSPORTS to get $20 off your first purchase only. Terms do apply. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. What time is it? It's game time. Okay, the Chicago Bears have fired another coach. It is Cannon Matthews, who was kind of had a few different positions in Dallas the last few years. He's being hired as a defensive assistant and nickelbacks coach for this Bears defensive staff. You look at his recent stops. He's been a defensive quality control guy with the Titans, became a Browns assistant DBs coach. Then he went to Washington, quality control guy again, started in that role in Dallas, but then kind of bounced around the secondary, did some work with the nickels, and then became their safeties coach this past year as Al Harris moved up the ranks, who he directly worked under. So this kind of feels like an Al Harris hire, who's the defensive pass game coordinator for Dennis Allen's defense. This seems to be his guy, so they've worked together the past 5 years in Dallas. And we talked about this when Al Harris was hired, but the ball production that the Cowboys secondary, you wouldn't think about it like over the years, like Cowboys secondary, second in the NFL in picks since 2020 when Al Harris and Cannon Matthews joined that staff under Mike McCarthy. I think it's like 83 picks in that time, something like that. I have to double check the number, but they've been very, very productive on the back end, aggressive-minded corners, and I think that's what the Bears have personnel-wise, which makes me really excited. And this guy will be working with Kyler Gordon as the Nichols coach, and we've already heard this new coaching staff rave about Kyler Gordon. Ben Johnson mentioned him. Dennis Allen mentioned him. Like, this is a player it feels like the Bears have identified as someone they think can flourish in this defense, which makes me wonder if he could be a contract extension candidate. We kind of mentioned that on a video a couple weeks ago, but he should be good. And I think also Jalen Johnson, ideally would be in a press man situation. I think they're going to do that a lot. And so would Tyreek Stevenson. Tyreek wants to get in your face, jam you at the line of scrimmage, and be physical. So I think this coaching staff and this scheme is going to help him get back to what he wants to do. And really, I think mentally, number one, but also just in general, like, can he bounce back? Can he hit that reset button? Because his arrow was pointing way up at the end of his rookie year, and even after week one, he had that pick six off of Will Levis to put that game away. So I still believe in the talent of Tyreek Stevenson. I think the mentals this offseason is going to be critical for this team and for this staff and for Tyreek to put in the work to flush last year and forget about the Hail Mary and all that stuff and just move on, because he's got all the talent in the world. He's big, he's physical, he's long, and he has good ball skills. Like, can he get back on track to potentially becoming a lockdown corner in this league? Because I thought that's where he was heading after his rookie year. So I think this aggressive-minded approach that this defense seems like they're going to want to do with their secondary will fit with what he is as a player. So that does get me pretty excited as well. Name a player that will break out next season. Maybe Tyreek will have a true full-season breakout because he had that second-half surge as a rookie, had moments in year two, but certainly did not make the strides overall that we were hoping for in 2024. Hopefully better things for him and others in 2025. Name a breakout player on this football team. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Chicago Bears Now. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you want more news, rumors, draft, free agency coverage, and a whole lot more surrounding this football team, hit that subscribe button and bear down.